And with Nancy, who is our team leader. So if you have joined Profitable Sunrise under my Children Matters link, then you will be in this group with Nancy, who heads up the NJF group, and which we're part of with Profitable Sunrise. And this call was done with someone else, with Nancy. They're within our group, and so I thought it was such a good call. It gave so many great tips and hints and information about Profitable Sunrise that I really wanted to share it with you. So let's take the time to listen to the call, get informed, so that when you speak to people, you are speaking from an informed point of view and not just guesswork, but that you understand Profitable Sunrise. It is a wonderful, wonderful program, and certainly good to be shared with many people. So listen to the call, and I'm sure that after you've listened to it, that you'll be so grateful to Roman and grateful to be able to be part of this amazing program. So take the time, it's not very long, listen to it and get informed.
Roman Novak is not a bank, okay? He doesn't have a big high-rise building. He is very, very, how should I say, fluid, meaning that hard money lenders, they may travel all over the world. They negotiate deals of all kinds and all sizes. People who need collateral loans are people that basically might need it. For example, a doctor who wants to get some equipment for his office will take a short-term, high-interest loan to bring that equipment in and get him going until his actual doctor's fees and insurance will pay for this equipment. Businesses, if you want to buy a franchise, $1 million franchise for McDonald's, you may need to be bridged to be able to pay the franchise fee, and then get going and have your business start to make some money and pay it all back through a traditional loan. If you want to build a house or a property where you need to have money up front, $50,000 is the minimum that Roman will loan. But here's the thing that all these things have in common. You have to have hard assets behind these loans, and that's why they call them hard money lenders, because hard money means that there's actual real estate, hard real estate that has no debt against it, that are behind these loans to make sure that if the loan ever defaulted, that the assets are there to cover it. And then in the case of Roman, what he does that's very interesting is he's learned that if a person doesn't quite have enough of the assets, he will then combine it with insurance and to make sure that that loan is covered. So if a loan did default, then let's say, for example, you had $1 million loan and that loan defaulted, you would have $800,000 that, let's say, for example, that they put up in hard assets, but let's say $200,000 they didn't have, so they put it into insurance. So out of that $200,000, 70% would be covered by the insurance company, and then only 30% would be the responsibility of Roman. And of course, the $800,000 would be in assets that he now owns. So he's only had a couple loans default in the past year, and none in the past. I think it's been like 8 months now. So he's doing very well. And you have to understand, the guy manages just pushing $400 million in loans. So it's kind of like him owning a big giant hotel, and he has guests of all sizes that want to rent space in that hotel. Well, they book the money the same way. These business loans are all booked according to the need, according to how long they need it, which could be just a matter of a few days to a matter of a long period of time. A lot of people ask me, well, how can Roman afford to pay these high interest rates and to all of us? Well, because hard money lenders charge a higher rate of interest, period. And then keep in mind, in banking, in traditional banking, if you walk into the bank and you give them $100,000, they literally can loan it out for 10 times that much. It doesn't really make sense to us, but that's what they're allowed to do because of the growing interest. 10 times as much they can loan it out. So in the same token with Roman also has the opportunity to loan it out whatever way he wants. He's independent. He owns his own business, and he's offshore, so he doesn't have the same regulations as what we may have here on the ground in the U.S. Now, some people might say, well, Nancy, are you a little worried that Roman Novak is offshore? And I have to tell you, I love the fact that he's offshore.
Nancy, I have to agree with you 100%. Having Roman Novak actually offshore is a much, much better way for all of us in the long run. For one thing, we avoid all these red tapes, and it's just so much harder to deal in the United States to do what he's doing right there. Having an offshore is just by far better. And the other thing is just the fact of if other people in other countries want to do this, it's much better having it offshore than actually in the States. So having him there, I agree 100%. It's much better. I do have another question, but before I ask that question, just in our group alone, we have about 1,000 new members coming into Profitable Sunrise every single day. The question is what is the best way to overcome the objection that people have about claiming that this is a Ponzi scheme or a money game?
Evaluate what is a Ponzi scheme or a money game. In the United States, Ponzi scheme in our world is when, especially in the network marketing world, is when you have anything where the majority of the money is being made off of sign-ups. And that's it. And I looked at the SEC ruling on the Supreme Court ruling on what a Ponzi is. And basically when people are investing money and that the investors are getting their investment back from the money that's being invested by the people, that's considered to be a Ponzi. There has to be an outside customer base of some kind where the money is coming from a separate place to pay the investors in order for it to not be a Ponzi. So what happens in all kinds of companies, product-driven companies, where you have a sudden rush of enthusiasm amongst the distributors because they see an opportunity and they buy start packages or the bundles of products. I remember when Nu Skin back in the day up in Michigan was selling these massive packages, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 packages of vitamins and skincare and all that. Folks were out there buying that and making the commissions and having others buy it and make commissions and buy it and make commissions. And what 1 minute Nu Skin was considered to be on the cover of Forbes magazine as the fastest growing company in America, and the next minute they were considered to be a pyramid and had them out there listed as a pyramid because they were pyramiding money. Well, pyramiding money and getting commissions from things, start kits being sold, is one form of kind of a Ponzi. But when you get into things like where you get in the internet world where you have an intangible item, it gets real tricky. I remember another company, YTB Travel, great company, suddenly came out with a $49 special. And everybody was signing up like crazy. So you had all these sign-ups, but nobody was selling travel. So the SEC, when they smell that money, they know that they need money. All the Attorney General's offices are out there struggling. They know that they can come in here, probably slap a fine, and make some money for their local Attorney General's office or local offices, which is what they do. I mean, it's not that they're doing anything wrong. If they see someone breaking some rules, they know that they can fine them. And that keeps everybody in business, keeps them in their jobs. So the key is that every company needs to protect themselves and to have a good, healthy ratio of business that where monies are coming in from someplace else, not from the distributors, not from the people who are involved with putting the money in. And in this particular program, I am so glad that we are not selling a product, because if we ourselves had to go out and sell a product during a recession when people don't have money to buy products, there is no way that we're going to have to be able to sell enough product to counterbalance people that want to come in with big start packages or whatever and duplicate that and get commissions off of that. There's no way you can do it because people want to make money. They'll spend more money on things that will make them money than they will on just buying products that they may or may not need. So I really find myself, being torn because I love products. I love nutrition. I love all these different things, skincare, all that. But to build a business in any platform that's going to go vertical in a big way, it's scary to do it in places where they are looking for you to have a bad ratio between your customers and between the growth of your distribution. In Profitable Sunrise, Roman already had a successful business before he brought us in. So that's the first thing I want you to understand about this. All the other programs that are out there that get accused of being a Ponzi were a Ponzi platform from day one, where they had products and they had distributors, and as soon as the distributors became more excited and started to put more of their money in than products actually sold, that's when the shift went from being a nice little company to being a Ponzi company. So in the same token here, Roman already had a successful business. He already had investors walking in the door with $200,000 and $500,000 to invest in his program and pay them very good interest rates. In 2009, he decided to open it up to charities to help benefit their charities. But the rule was, if you want to come in as a charity, you have to walk in with at least $200,000, just like our investors do, or that wouldn't be fair. But we will let you do it with partners. You can, and I say the word partners because it's really not a word that we're really participants, okay? Because we have no partnership with each other, and we actually don't even have a membership. We're really not even members of Profitable Sunrise, to be honest. I'm going to talk to Roman about that because I've never given him my information. He doesn't have my identification in his system, or my Social Security number, or my driver's license, or my address, or anything. So how can I be a member of something that I didn't even put my name into? So we are participants in his program. So the deal is, we're sitting here and we have something that already existed before us. He's a hard money lender. It's a legitimate business that is outside of any MLM or network marketing type arena. It goes on all over the world. There's hard money lender groups, and especially now with the deregulation of banking and them not doing short-term business loans, a whole new industry has opened up. He already was there. He's 10 years of banking experience and accounting experience. So we have a different story here. This program was not built to do what it's doing right now. It was built as a traditional business, but they've expanded it to charities. And our charities focus up ministries. And this ministry is the reason why you're here on this call. Because if we didn't have this ministry, we wouldn't have our group. And that's how we got it. So the deal is that it's important that not only our group thrive, but our ministry also thrives, so that we show that we came in the right way. Our ministry is thriving, and that is our umbrella, that's our shelter as to why we're doing this program. And so therefore, as we move forward, Roman will have more and more investors, and I say the investors to him because he can legally say the word investor. He will have investors that are and are not in any of our groups. And he will have all of his customers, every single customer. Here's the biggie, guys. Listen carefully. Every single customer that he has that is a borrower is not an investor. And that is why this is not a Ponzi. Because you see, a Ponzi is when people are only making money off of the people, right? But yet the money that's being borrowed, where the interest is being paid, comes from people who are not in our community. Because according to the trade laws, insider trading laws, he cannot give you and I a loan of any kind. And I know this because I asked him for one. I wanted to buy a house, and I asked him how that would work. And he could not give me a loan because I am inside already. I am part of his revenue portfolio. The resources that I bring to the table are already in the system, so therefore I cannot be on the other side as a borrower, where in Ponzi's, you're it. In a Ponzi scheme, it's your money who also pays the people that are in the community of investors. And especially if you're in a product-driven company, when a lot of us are familiar with one that did a penny auction, they couldn't sell enough stuff on the penny auction to pay the people, so they had to pay the people from the investors. In this case, he's not allowed. He is not allowed to use any of the investors' money to pay us. It has to come from the borrowers because of insider trading. So that's what makes this not a Ponzi.